After graduating college, I began working at Capcom. That's when I started to compose seriously in my life. I was in college when the first generation of games came out, like Super Mario and Dragon Quest. I really loved them and I played them a lot. So I had no resistance to working with video games, although I was really surprised by the fact that you could actually make music with only 3 tracks. Mega Man was the first job assigned to me, 6 months after graduating college and working at Capcom. I still hadn't figured out the knack yet, so writing one piece would take me 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, sometimes a week. When it was really bad, a full week. I remember it being really difficult. And then after writing a piece, I'd have to convert the music into data logs, so notes had to become numbers. That made things even more difficult. The first time I saw an illustration of Mega Man, it reminded me of Astro Boy, or some kind of futuristic, cool robot hero. It wasn't an adorable character like Mario, and it wasn't like the Dragon Quest role-playing characters either. I thought to myself that I should write for an action character who'd be moving around a lot, and the music needed to match that. UN Squadron! I love every single song from that game. The thing is, I don't know, the person in charge of the project just gave me so much freedom with it. Up until then, someone had to give me specific instructions to write music like this and that, and I'd keep up. But with UN Squadron, the person in charge was like, "Do you know Top Gun? That movie? Write music like Top Gun. Otherwise, I have no requests." So I watched it and paid attention to the way the planes flew and wrote the music. So it's actually filled with songs I love. Absolutely not at all. I used to never ever perform. I almost always worked solely on composition. I was never a part of the advertising side or being on the outside. 2 years ago, there was an indie video game event called Bit Summit. I played there for the first time, 4 songs in fact. After that, I had a few small gigs here and there overseas. So this past show, playing over 45 minutes, is a first in my life. Seeing so many people in the audience was really surprising, and it was so much fun.
에리야, 저지다.
That's one of my favorite chord progressions. My favorite musical ensemble is the Pat Metheny group. I love how in his work, the chord changes smoothly without you even realizing. I have listened to him so much, I think he's very influential for me. That's very true. Thank you very much. I met him 2 years ago in Seattle. Shovel Knight had a booth there at an event. I was invited, so I went. He came up to me and said, "Your work has really inspired mine." I was surprised and flattered. It was very flattering. Back when I worked with Capcom, you couldn't use as many tracks as you can now. There were limitations. That's the 90s. I was with Capcom until the 90s. So when I worked with Capcom, my music had restrictions. Now that doesn't exist. That's the biggest difference. You wouldn't believe how often people ask me that. The thing is, though, I'm really not in a position to be giving out advice. Let's see. You have to listen to as much music as possible. In Japanese, you'd use the saying, store as much as possible in your drawers. If you're working in the video game industry, you'll be asked to write music in this or that genre. But if you're not familiar with the genre, you couldn't do it. You have to listen to classical music, rock music, jazz music, even heavy metal. Just have a wide range of knowledge. You have to make it a part of you. I think that's the most important thing. That way songs and pieces will come naturally, I think. Yeah. Oh, UN Squadron. Oh man, back then there was this music I used to listen to all of the time. I forget what it was though. I used to listen to this album by a rock band that would build up a lot. I think they had an impact. It wasn't Pat Metheny though. Oh, I forget the band's name though. I think that's what it was. Oh yeah, it's everywhere in that. It continues in the whole series. When I began writing Mega Man, I had hit some severe mental block. But one day I was on the train heading to work, and that part suddenly came to me. Short phrases like that are easy to forget usually. It's human nature to not retain things that aren't memorable. Yet, I was able to keep that phrase in my mind, even after getting to work. So I thought to myself, oh, this is a phrase that is easy to remember. And then, maybe this is a phrase people will never forget. So I built around it and wrote songs based off of it. I was on the train and didn't want to forget it, so I kept repeating it in my head. And I got to work and still remembered it, and now it goes like... That was a time when I was responsible for UN Squadron, and he was in charge of Mega Man 2. And I asked him, do you want to swap a song? And we did. So we each have 1 credit, respectively, for those games. So there's that. After he quit Capcom, he was with Konami. And Konami had so many composers there, like Michiru Yamane and Akira Yamaoka. There were a lot of famous composers there, and that's why he said, I can't do it, and gave up. Then he started his own music production company, and he runs it now. When I was younger, it used to happen where I'd come up with melodies, even in a train. But now that I'm older, that happens less and less. I started to sit down, play chords, and then write, more and more. Now I found myself in the situation where, unless I'm hitting keys, I can't come up with melodies. That's true, and there are DJs scratching records and stuff. It's really, really fun. It's almost like an omatsuri. I really love it. Yes, it was. I spoke with the band, and that's how we wanted to play it. I played piano, and Godspeed, the guitarist, started harmonizing. Then the structure ended up being a massive build-up. We arranged it like that specifically for this set. Oh, you're embarrassing me. I can't brag, really though. That's normal. Bragging would bring about nothing.